Greetings, fanboys and fangirls. Jared here with another video from Fanboys Forever. Today we're going to be having just kind of a little bit of a rambling discussion. Just going to share just a few of my thoughts about the Lego Monkey Kid theme. Now, this is a theme that has been around for about a year and a half or so now, and it was introduced early last year. And what's interesting to me is that it's kind of an enigma to me. I remember when it was first announced and they promoted it heavily in the Lego magazine, and I remember I really couldn't quite figure out what to think of it, and I really didn't even know what they were going for. It wasn't until I started seeing some YouTubers and different people online kind of talking about what the actual point of the theme was. Apparently it's a sequel to Journey to the West, which is the classic Chinese legend. It's the classic Chinese novel from many hundreds of years ago. And this kind of takes those characters like the Monkey King and many of the others, and it kind of plops them into sort of a weird futuristic version of those locations, and you have some of the same characters. It's just really interesting. It's really fascinating. It's certainly unlike any of the other original themes Lego has ever tried before. This one, much like Ninjago, is more of a mishmash of lots of different things put into one, with this kind of center conceit of being this like Asian folklore story that's been modernized for a new audience. So definitely right off the bat, you sort of get a little bit of that Ninjago vibe with what they're doing. But at the same time, it truly is unique in that it actually isn't completely original, in that it is more based on this pre-existing folklore. The thing that got me interested in it in the first place was that the builds are absolutely immaculate. The things that Lego is doing with these builds is just terrific. Things like the headquarters that you can build, that's the giant cargo boat. It can actually open up, and there's actually compartments for each of the characters. I mean, it's absolutely amazing stuff. They're just pushing themselves to the limit of what you can do with this medium, especially with things like the giant mech of the Monkey King, which is just gigantic and huge and very, very, very well done. They're just pushing and pushing to get these more complex, these more intricate builds than I think we've ever seen with this kind of theme before, this kind of original Lego theme. And so it fascinates me, it excites me, but the confusion for me set in when this kind of bucked a lot of the trends that we usually see with these Lego kind of boys themes that they do, that are like original themes. Unlike pretty much all the other ones, there wasn't a CGI American airing show that was like on Cartoon Network that they were promoting, and a bunch of merchandise. And much to my surprise, there wasn't merchandise anywhere except the Lego shop, and that's it. And if you're like me, the closest Lego shop is like 3 hours away. So I was kind of shocked when I started seeing all these reviews. At first I was like, oh, I'll go to Amazon and I'll check out what they have there. And I couldn't do that because they weren't on Amazon. So it was just shock after shock, and me trying to piece together what exactly was happening. And finally I figured out this is a completely exclusive theme just to the Lego shop. And that's it. Then the other element of it was, okay, well, where's the like tie-in CGI show or something like that? Because I'm never really too interested in those, but every now and then they strike a chord. And so I thought, well, I'll check this out. Well, it turned out there wasn't a CGI show, but instead there was like a flat-out anime. And I think it's done by an Australian company. They're the people who do Rise of the TMNT, and please don't judge it based on that. This is using that very talented animation studio to their absolute fullest potential, because I have watched this show, but I had to get on YouTube and watch unofficial like rips of the show. Why? Because even though there is this brilliant, and I mean it's great, absolutely terrific show, it doesn't air in America anywhere, and you can't watch it officially. And so it's one of these deals where I'm stuck wondering what exactly is going on with the Monkey Kid theme. It's clearly become kind of a fan favorite kind of thing, and you're seeing it like all over the place on YouTube, like it's what's happening. So I guess there's a few different things that I could put myself in the headspace of Lego with and try to sort of figure out what all of this means. One of the things that I guess I can take away is that maybe retailer interest was just incredibly low. Maybe it turns out that Chinese folklore being marketed to like young kids, maybe that's something that like Walmart was like, huh? And they just didn't put it on the shelves. They didn't order enough. Lego said, you know what? It's actually just, let's just keep it, in-house. We'll do smaller numbers. Maybe it'll be more profitable this way. So I'm thinking that might be one way, but I kind of doubt it because I don't really think that your big box retailers would be that selective over a brand partner, a stock partner like Lego, who is one of the key toy stock partners. We're talking about a company that literally gets an aisle at Walmart, like, pretty much one company. And that's sort of unheard of. It's not like they don't have leverage with these guys. So I'm inclined not to really believe option A necessarily. So what else does that leave us with? Well, option 2 is we know that there was a pandemic and it was especially bad in 2020. So maybe that had some sort of impact where Lego knew that they wouldn't necessarily be able to keep up with demand, and the theme kind of got sidelined a little because of production issues or stock issues. But I don't necessarily think that I can believe that one either, because when you look at it, they've done many other themes. They're doing new waves of all sorts of other stuff. Maybe they sacrificed the room at their factories to do these other themes that they knew would be more profitable. They knew that they would be, bigger, surer things at retail. So maybe that's part of it. Maybe that's a possibility, but I still don't know if I really buy that one. Then there is the absolutely horrendous possibility that perhaps some of the, horrible things we've seen on the news has contributed to perhaps there being kind of a feeling of risk with such a heavily Chinese-influenced theme. And I certainly hope that that's not it, because if it is, I'm very disappointed in all parties involved in those decisions. So I can only hope that that is not it, and I don't want to give much consideration to that because I really don't feel like that's the kind of company that we see in Lego. So what does that leave me with? There's a good chance that this theme was never truly intended to blow up in America. It just wasn't. When you look at the DNA of this theme and you compare it to, say, Ninjago. Ninjago is Asian mysticism and martial arts in the most westernized American package possible. And, and that is no insult to Ninjago, because that is an impressive range of sets and it has a terrific legacy. So that is not at all me trying to rip on Ninjago. It's obvious looking at the sets, looking at what it is as an interpretation of ninja and martial arts. It's truly through an American lens. It's through a Western slanted lens. And I realize Lego is not an American company, but, they are trying to sell to those tropes to make sure the theme is successful. Nothing wrong with any of that. It's just another way to look at it. But then you've got Monkie Kid. And we're talking about a theme where you can pay $90 and build the Demon Bull King from a novel that was written hundreds of years ago in, by all accounts, ancient China. Journey to the West. This is really out there. And I think that the idea was that Lego always intended this to be a way for them to get more of a foothold in the Chinese market. And if you don't believe me about the Chinese market, do a quick Google search and you will see that most financial analysts and just most people in any sort of industry will tell you that China is the key market in almost any medium, any business. And so maybe it's incredibly intelligent of Lego to be expansionist in this area and pretty much tailor a product towards that Chinese market. Which, by the way, if you haven't watched some of these weird Chinese commercials for this theme, because it is a retail theme there, watch some of them, because it really is an education. It was for me about how different promotion is for children's properties in China. I could not wrap my head around what they were doing, which is probably just a sign of kind of more of the cultural divide. I'm just left thinking that is the whole thing. But I would like to make an appeal to Lego here. Personally, In my honest opinion, I will tell you that I think this is your best theme you have. Seriously, out of all of the themes that LEGO is doing currently, I really believe that their finest hour is Monkey Kid, like right now. And I think that in 2021, if you compare some of these Monkey Kid sets, not all of them are home runs, but I really do believe that if you compare them, you will walk away as convinced as I am. When you look at something like the Monkey Kid HQ or the legendary Flower Fruit Mountain, which is one of the most impressive landscape sets I have ever seen, and you look at what they're accomplishing with this, they are taking the idea of their standard 3-year like boys action theme, and they are absolutely blowing it up for Monkey Kid. And this is as much effort as I've seen them put into something like this in forever. Well, since they expanded Ninjago to be what it is today. It does put me in the mind of one other theme that was so big the first year, and it was when LEGO first really pushed Nexo Knights. They were doing some very impressive sets. You had Jestro's Lair was so impressive, and the Fortrex, and eventually you had things like Knight and Castle, and these were all very impressive sets, but it fizzled out, and they didn't really keep up that same level as they went through, and eventually it just ended on a thud. But with Monkey Kid, I'm seeing some impressive stuff that it feels like the energy is there, and I think that one thing and one thing only is going to determine the longevity of this theme and the overall success of this theme, and what we see and what we don't. And that's, will the Chinese market be into it? Will it be a big thing for LEGO? I'm not sure. I saw financial reports, and I have no idea if it was just America or if it was a global thing. Star Wars is still the biggest theme. Superheroes is still a big theme. Harry Potter is a big theme. But there's the Ninjago is still huge, but and lost in the dust somewhere are some of their original themes. And we know that it is actually quite healthy for LEGO to cycle through these. If you're like me, you shed a tear when you realize there were no more hidden side sets, because boy oh boy did I love those sets. But at the same time, it is great for them to experiment, to do new things, introduce new pieces, and explore kind of new areas, new segments of their branding. And that's exactly what Monkey Kid is doing. I think from a pure build perspective, you're seeing them try things here that are much more impressive than other stuff that they've recently done for, let's face it, a kid's theme. I just really hope that it does well. But there is one key question that I have. LEGO, why aren't you giving this thing a chance in America? It seems like a real waste here. It's almost as if they would have developed Ninjago. They would have said, well, this has more of an Asian slant, and this seems to be martial arts based. And, we think that we're just going to keep this in the Japanese market. We just think, that would never happen. Japan is tiny. So, the population would never support a whole product range of LEGO with smaller companies, yeah. But with a big company like LEGO, they're not going to do that. Just, an entire range of stuff. But it feels like it's being kind of isolationist a little bit. And I really do appreciate the idea that I can get these sets still through the LEGO shop, and God bless LEGO for making sure that, especially adult fans, were still able to buy these off the LEGO store, and they're doing a great job. There was a couple of months where practically every set sold out from the first wave, but they've restocked them all now. They've got the stores stocked up from what I know of, from what I see online, and certainly the online store is stocked up, which is how I buy them. But it just astounds me that they're not willing to devote, a quarter of the shelf space that they give Ninjago and say, maybe we should try this for a little while. As a matter of fact, I remember being a little resentful when I first saw the Monkey Kid sets in the LEGO catalog thing, because I was like, they're getting ready to kick out Hidden Side, my pet little theme here, and they're going to replace it with this. I can't believe it. Turned out, no, they didn't replace Hidden Side with any theme, really. They just expanded the other themes. Honestly, the LEGO shelf of retail deserves this kind of diversity in product and this sort of quality. And it astounds me that things like the boat and legendary Flower Fruit Mountain and the giant Monkey King mech won't be available to just your average parent or your average kid they're going to be out, and see this and be like, this is awesome. This is incredible. I have to get this. And you notice how I keep mentioning the big sets, because that's where so much of the magic is for this theme. So I really want to see that be a possibility for people beyond the adult fans of Lego like me. I want to see this be more of a thing. I want to see what Western kids would really get out of this theme, because I think there's a market there. I really do. So Lego, if you're watching, I would love to hear from you about a possible retail presence for this line. To me, all Monkie Kid needs is a little bit of TLC, and you can get that on TV. You can get it, and there's already an English dub. Even Sean Schemmel, the voice of Goku, plays the voice of Sun Wukong, which is the Monkey King. I mean, it is pre-made for success. And if I just am struggling and have found very few others, I think Just Too Good was one of the only YouTubers I've seen do a video about this. I just wonder what the holdup is, and I'm wondering if this will ever expand into North America as a full-blown retail presence. So guys, let me know down below. Do you want to see more discussion videos like this? Is this theme something you would like to see come to US shelves? And is it something that you think maybe perhaps any of you that have children, do you think this is something that they might enjoy as well? I'm curious about your thoughts on this, and I would love to start a discussion about it below. Until next time, God bless you and yours. Be safe out there, and I'll see you on Fanboys Forever. Fanboy out.